cutie pies. I'm Lanikia, and you're watching What Happened on the Soaps. This is the Young and the Restless edition. All right, guys, let's get into it. It is Tuesday, October the 4th, 2022. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it a 7. It was solid. Yeah, let's go with a 7. So we see Summer and Kyle. I said, dang, I thought y'all wrapped your wedding up yesterday. Listen, like vow renewal, I don't mean to be rude, but sometimes they can drag these type of things out. And I know people love this couple, but I'm not that invested, to be quite honest with you. So I'm like, wrap this up so we can move on to other stuff. Like, you need to go over here and find out what your mama doing with Tucker. But anyways, so they're just talking about how happy they are. They've been through so much and they made it to the other side and they have all these years ahead to just live a beautiful life. And Summer says, but don't you think it's weird that my mom and my grandmother are always together? Like they're in cahoots about something. And Kyle said, Kyle is just like, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird, but who knows what's going on? Let's just focus on the positive. And they are going away on their honeymoon. So then we see Noah and Allie. And Noah has been, he took a lot of beautiful pictures at the ceremony. And Allie loved them. She loved them and she kept looking and she said, oh my gosh, you took pictures of me. And Noah just loves him some Allie. They're a cute little couple, but we knew they wasn't gonna last long. But they are a cute little couple and they are both completely smitten with each other and it's nice. And so then everyone comes in. Summer, Kyle, Noah, Allie, and they're talking, and Allie was just like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe y'all call him Tucker." I'm like, this is Tucker McCall. He is renowned, a businessman. Like she was just like, she was fangirling over Tucker. She was just so enthralled and about him, and they were like, "Yeah, but he's been with he was a playboy." She was like, he's a playboy and everything. And he was like, they were all just going down the line. He was with my mom. He was with Ashley. He was with my mom. She said, level-headed Sharon. And so Jack comes in and he was like, what y'all talking about? And they were talking about Tucker. And he was like, oh, don't get me started. And they were like, yeah, giving us that gift of that vintage Bentley. And they wonder what he's up to. And if Devon even knows he's in town and everything. But they don't know. They just hope that he's not up to, it's all good with them. So then Kyle and Summer talked to Jack because Allie and Noah said, we're going to go dancing. Y'all want to dance? And they were like, yeah, we want to dance this night away because they've had a great time at their vow renewal. So Jack says, we'll watch Harrison. And they said, oh my gosh, we're going to go on this renewal honeymoon, whatever you want to call it. And she was like, I don't know, work and Harrison. And they were like, no. Jack was like, we got Harrison. We're happy to take care of him and y'all go and enjoy and be young and have fun and in love and everything. So that was pretty much it with them, y'all. I'm not gonna hold you long. So then we see Nate and Elena, and Nate says, have you had time to think about everything? And she says, it's just been one night and you just let me leave. And he was like, did you want me to ask you to stay or beg you? And she said, I don't think she wanted him to beg or anything, but she didn't want him to let her leave so easily because he was she was like, you wholeheartedly agreed in the end that, yeah, I should go. I said, girl, Nate is moving on from you. Nate, this new Nate, that's not your old Nate. That's not the man you wanted. And honestly, I don't know how they're going to bring his character back from this. It's a soap, so they probably could, but I don't know if it would. If I don't think it might be too late with Elena. If this goes too far, like the way I think it's going to go, which Nate becomes like this playboy, it might be too late for Elena, but we don't know. So they continue to talk, and he says, do you start, or can you at least see it from my way of thinking? And she was like, your way of thinking is, in other words, she's calling him selfish without saying he's selfish. And he says, no, what I'm doing is, I'm supplying jobs and, we have employees and I'm giving jobs and they need pay and he was making it sound good, but they're working now. Those same employees are working now. And so Elena was like, okay, keep going, keep telling, just lying to yourself, because you could lie to you're just lying to yourself. You're lying to me about why you're doing this. At the end of the day, you're doing this for power. You're doing this because you want to be in charge. And that's what it is. And that's what's so frustrated about this. Nate doesn't even want to pay his dues. He just wants to move to the top of the food chain because he's over there. So he just is like, I want to be CEO and I want to make changes in the company and I want it to be good and I want it to be family based and I wanted everyone's ideas to be heard. Um when really, if you're not happy at Chancellor Winters, you could go somewhere else. Honestly, he could have just went somewhere else, but he doesn't want to do that. He wants that company. So then, anyways, Devon comes in and he's like, "Is everything good between you two?" And Nate is like, "Yeah," and he tells Elena, "I'll call you later," and he leaves. Because he says, I know you had something to do at the hospital, and he says, and I have a meeting, so he leaves. And Devon is just like, Elena, is everything good? And she said, they just made some fresh chocolate chip cookies. Do you want something? It was like, I want you to talk to me. I want you to tell me the truth. And so Elena, y'all, she was this close to telling Devon what Nate had planned, but she can't do it. She won't betray Nate, and we know she won't. But this is one time that she should, because Lily, Jill, Devon, they all need a heads up, because what Nate is saying about, yeah, we want all of this change and stuff. If Devon them walk away, you don't know what people you would get to stay. You're assuming you're going to be this kind of open boss, like, but you could be open and not be the boss. But I don't know, y'all. It's just so frustrating to watch this storyline because he's just such a jerk. But anyways, speaking of Elena and Devon, they continue to talk, and he's like, "What's going on?" And so she's saying things that are not aligning with the Nate that Devon is starting to see at work. She's saying that he still has issues about work, and he says, well, that's weird because I thought we were working things out, and he came back and it was all good. But what Elena is saying and how Nate is acting is not matching. And so Devon has questions. He said, is there something that I did that's causing stress for you too? And she said, no. And he's like, so what is it? And she was that close to telling him, y'all. But then she says, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have brought you in. And she gets up and leaves. And Devon looks puzzled. And I said, stay with it, Devon, because out of all of this, Lily, honestly, the way she has handled this business and everything, I I wouldn't trust her to be the CEO. She's too, yes, gun ho about everything. Yes, let's do it. Yes, let's do this. Yes, let's do this. She's too gun ho, where I want a CEO like Devon, who's like a critical thinker, who's trying to find all of the different ways that something could go wrong. But anyways, then we see that Nate gets back to the office and Esther is there, and she said Devon told her to meet him there, and he was like, she was like, I don't know why, and he was like, me either. So then she starts talking about Catherine, and he said she was like, Jill was a firecracker. She wasn't the best, and he was like, wow, Jill is so great here. And she was like, oh, no, she changed, and Miss C forget, they built a relationship in the end. And he was like, oh, so Catherine was willing to share, because she said they were co-CEOs. He was like, Catherine was willing to share her power. And that's what it is with Nate. He wants power. He doesn't want to be the COO. He wants to be the CEO. Even the way he's telling Victoria, make me the CEO of it all. He's not trying to share his power with Lily. Like, keep her the CEO, but move Devon down. He's not trying to do any of that. He wants the control of it all. So then we see, he says, tell me more stories about Catherine. So she does, and then Devon comes in, and he was like, hey guys, and so when Devon comes in, he starts talking to Esther, and he tells her, you were part of Chancellor, and we're all about family. And he says, this is a family company, and we want to take care of each other. And then Nate goes and says, I can't begin to tell you how I feel about that. And I said, oh, what a jerk. When Devon talks about family, and he can't begin to tell him how he feels about that whole thing. Yeah, you Judas. But anyways, Devon just offers Esther. He said we have a receptionist who's leaving it. And before he could even get it out, she was like, "Are you offering me a job?" He was like, "Yeah, I would like to." And she was like, "Yes, please, yes." So it will be nice to see her. I like the fact that they still play their seasoned actors, and so I'm glad they're bringing her back. And they just do it. Oh, here's our anniversary. Throw her in, and then we never see her again. I like the fact that they're bringing her back in. And so I was like, I wonder how this is going to play into it, because she's going to be the receptionist. So I wonder how, if she's going to hear something. I don't know, y'all. We'll see. So then we see Nate and Devon talking. He tells Devon, like, you didn't tell me the truth. And Nate is just like, what do you mean? He said, there's more going on with you and Elena than you said. He says, yes, but we're going to work it out. He says, uh, and then he tries to say it's because Elena wants him to go back to medicine. He said her first reaction when I told her something was going on between us was that to quit. And Devon is just, he keeps listening to Nate, but he knows, like, I'm like, Devon, this is not adding up to what Elena is saying, because she's telling you Nate is a different person. And you've seen that yourself. So he's just like, oh, she just wanted me to go back to medicine. So she's not 100% sold on the business. And she thought I was going to do this and then get bored and come on back. But that's not happening. He said, but make no mistake, I plan on working it out with Elena, and we're like being with her. And Devon is just like, okay. And Nate leaves, and Devon is just still looking like, huh. And I was like, stay with it, Devon. But every time he tries to say something to Lily, she does not want to hear it. So I don't know what's gonna happen. So then we see Victoria, Nick, and Victor. They go to Victor and they talk about missing the. He talks about missing the wedding. He was like, I'm sure Jack said. Jack didn't say anything. Well, he did say, yeah, I'm sure Victor didn't want to come to the Abbott. You know how it's just childish at this point. It's just really silly and childish. But anyways, they said, did you get the work done? And he said, yep, we got the finances available to buy up those shares for Chancellor Winters as soon as they go public. And Nick keeps telling them the FCC is not going to like this. And they were like, son, there's nothing going to be wrong. We got Nate on the inside, and he keeps saying y'all are breaking laws. And they said we haven't broken any yet. And I feel like something is going to happen because Nick keeps warning them. And then they tell Victor Tucker McCall is back in town, and he's like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, he's back." And he was like, "Really?" And they said, "Do you think he's back because of the merger?" And knowing that Chancellor Winters is about to go public, and they were like, we don't know." And they said, "Well, if we'll talk to Nate and see if he knows anything that's going on." And he's also gotten close to Audrey, who is the over helping to launch the IPO. And they were like, that's good. And Nick is still like, I with Tucker here, that's a wild card. I don't think we should do this. But they Victor and Victoria said that's not gonna scare us. We're still going for it. I said, all right then. So then Victoria talks to, because she sends a text to Nate when he was talking to Devon, and he says, I got to handle this as business. So Victoria tells Nate, can we meet? And so they meet up at her office, and he says, what's up? And she said, Tucker McCall is in town, Devon's dad. He was like, what? He was like, Devon didn't mention it. She said, I figured Devon didn't mention it, or you would say something. She was like, we need to find out why he's in town and what's going on. You need to keep us up to date. And he was like, will do, because Nate says, do you think because he's coming back to town because of Chancellor Winters going public? She said, I don't know, but we need to find out, because if there's a wild card that could ruin all of this, it would be Tucker McCall. And I said, please let him come back to help his son, not hurt him. So then Nikki and Phyllis are talking. At first, they're at the wedding and they're talking, and they're just like, okay, we're going to find out information because we know there's a connection between Diane and Tucker. And so then later on, they go home. I guess they get changed, and Phyllis meets Nikki because she's like, oh my gosh, Summer's all over me. And she said, I can't believe she made me promise not to do anything to Diane, that I would play nice. And Nikki said, well, for the most part, you're doing a really good job at it. But so she says, I know, Phyllis is like, I know there's a connection between Tucker and Diane, but we got to find out what it is because I know it has to do with that Bentley. And Nikki tells Phyllis, you'll never guess the big piece of information that Victor's men found out about Tucker, and I guess it has to do with Diane. And so she was like, "Oh, tell me." And I was like, "Tell me too, girl. What is it?" Like, sometimes I just want to binge watch. You know what I mean? Like, drop all the videos at the beginning of the week and let me just watch them. So then we see Tucker and Diane. So she goes to Tucker and she says, "You said you were gonna keep a low profile and you were not gonna, stir up trouble. And then you come in a helicopter." And she said, and Ashley wasn't even there. So you rented a helicopter and wasted time looking for the perfect suit and all that. And Ashley wasn't even there to see it all. He was like, oh well. But she said, he was like, you should be thanking me because you were shocked to see me there and it showed on your face. And so everybody thinks you're just another one of those people who were surprised to that I was back in town. And she said, listen, sir, people are going to think it's strange that the both of us come through, show up at around the same time. And he was like, oh, well. And then she tried, so I guess he helped her so she could keep tabs on Ashley for him. Which I said, if she was trying to keep tabs on Ashley, we haven't seen it, but okay. She said, I'm done. She said, I care about the Abbotts now, so I don't want to help in this, and you need to tell me what you have in store for them. And he's like, none of your business. Like, all you need to worry about is you need to give me information about Ashley, and you're not done. We're still partners because all of this, you living with you living back in Genoa City, having a relationship with your son and the Abbotts and everything. That's because of me. So we're done when I say we're done. I said, Diane, you shouldn't have got involved with this man. So he said, we're done when I say we're done. And so I need you to keep reporting back to me. And that's pretty much it. With him telling her, he was like, you don't have a say in this. And you could tell that whatever she's mixed up with him, she wants out, but it's like he won't let her. And so then we see that Victor comes to the door and he's like, McCall, I know you're in there. And y'all, that's how it went off. Victor is at the door. Diane is inside. I said, I don't know where she gonna hide. But anyways, that was The Young and the Restless today, guys. I know a lot of people said Diane hasn't done anything. Diane has changed, but she hasn't. She has not. She's still up to her old ways. But I like this storyline. I like that they brought him on. And some people are like, y'all, he just got on the soap. How are you going to talk about bad about the man? He is a really good actor. Give him a moment to try to get into the role. I'm already enjoying it myself. But some people just already are like, no, I don't like him in this role. And I'm like, he's literally been on less than a week. Like, what are y'all talking about? But I don't know, y'all. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. All right, guys, that was just Young and the Restless today. What happened on the soaps, Young and the Restless edition. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow for all new episodes. Goodbye.